experience. I think I wanted to really protect one, myself as a pregnant woman, protect my baby, like the energy surrounding bringing her into the world. I'm sitting here like, damn, I've been gone for a whole year. Like, are they going to remember me? Are they going to remember my work? Are they going to want me again? A large part of this industry is staying relevant. 3 days later is when I ended up back in the hospital and almost died. And I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it home.
Welcome to Baby Bump and Business, the podcast for creative moms growing a baby and a brand at the same time. I'm your host, Bee Trofort-Wilson, photographer, educator, and first-time mom, sharing the real unfiltered journey of pregnancy, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. Each week, I'll be joined by a fellow creative mom to talk about the beauty, the burnout, and the balance of it all. So let's get into it. Today's guest is Kreshonna Keane. Kreshonna is a photographer and visual storyteller from the Bronx, New York. Through her art, she challenges social stigmas, uplifts underrepresented groups, and celebrates life and culture with a focus on fashion and beauty. Her work has blended her essence, cosmopolitan, and on the Forbes 30 Under 30, go ahead, girl, and art and style. So welcome, Kreshonna, to the podcast.
So much. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So let's dive into it. We both got Libras, girl. Woo!
Yes, this is
So,
crazy.
congratulations to
Both
you.
new moms,
So
yes. Both
both new
photographers.
moms figuring this thing out.
Yes.
So when it came to last year, 2025 was crazy. I know it was crazy for me, so I'm sure it was for you. What
Insane.
was that like when you found out that you were pregnant? Was it planned? How was that? What was your first thought?
Yeah, so it wasn't planned, I'll say that. However, what I can confidently say is that my daughter was made in love. And that's what matters the most to me. I did not expect at the beginning of 2025 to say, I'm going to be a mom this year. That was not on my vision board. It was not my plan. When the year started, I was going hard with my content. I was like, yeah, this is going to be the year. I'm going to hit 100K on Instagram. I'm going to do all these great things. And then God said, that's not my plan for you. And that's A-okay, you know? So it wasn't my plan, but it was God's plan.
Amen to that. Amen. So for me, I hid my pregnancy really till I started showing a lot in my third trimester. What was that like for you? And how did you incorporate being pregnant while you were still trying to promote your brand and promote your business?
So I'll be honest with you, I did the exact same thing. I kind of just took myself away from social media completely. Like if I did post, I would probably just post like a selfie or something like that. But I definitely hid my pregnancy. And it wasn't necessarily that I was hiding it. I just chose to be very private about the experience. I think I wanted to really protect one, myself as a pregnant woman, protect my baby, like the energy surrounding bringing her into the world. I wanted to make sure that I got her here safely first before anything, before I shared it with anybody. I was very selective with who I chose to let in and who I chose to tell about the pregnancy. So that's the way I went about it. Navigating business, I'm not going to lie to you. I did one shoot all of 2025. One shoot. I was like 6 months pregnant. I did an event for 3 hours. My feet were enormous after that, and I couldn't walk the next day. So to be honest, I couldn't really do much all 2025 when it came to navigating the business. I was getting inquiries for jobs and unfortunately did have to turn them down because they were unrealistic. Like one of them, I could be kind of candid. I was in talks with a client for a possibility of shooting Essence Fest, and they wanted me out there at 6 months pregnant, shooting 9 hours a day for 4 days back to back with no access to bathrooms but a porta potty. And I'm like, that's not going to work for me. You know how the porta potty lines be. Like, how is that going to work? So unfortunately, I had to turn down a lot of gigs, but it is what it is. I think the way that I saw it was God telling me, okay, this is your time to be still, sit in this stillness, enjoy this time now, even though, I didn't really enjoy it that much. And we'll talk about that, but it was what it was. And I accepted it.
So going into that, like for me, I mean, as a creator and as an entrepreneur, most of us are go-getters. Like we're down for the jobs, we're down for the opportunities, and that slowdown, as much as it is a gift from God and is that slowdown that we sometimes need, it's hard to accept, right? So
Absolutely.
what was that like for you having to accept this new norm for 2025?
I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was hard. Like, it was hard. A lot of opportunities that I really wanted, or that, like you said, normally we're go-getters. I would have absolutely said, yes, I'm flying out to New Orleans for 4 days and working my behind off. But I had to be realistic with myself and with my body. Ultimately, like it became that it wasn't about me anymore. I had a life to protect, and every single step that I took, whether it was what I was eating or what I was putting on my skin or where I was going and what I was doing, it was to protect her at the end of the day. So, yeah, that's just how I saw it. I was like, if it's gonna protect her and keep her safe, then it is what it is. I got to do it. So it was hard, but I did it.
Yes, you did, girl. Yes, you did. So
Thank you.
when we're thinking about the business side, I know for me, a lot of my fear was if I can't work and if I don't work, how's my business going to sustain? So what
Yes.
were things that you'd start to do or things that you had to start to implement, knowing that this was going to be a pregnancy where you may not work as much, and how are you going to how are you going to still show up for your business?
Right. So during those conversations where I was like turning clients down, I was being transparent with them, to be honest. And I think like transparency and communication is kind of key here. Whether they decide to circle back or not, maybe I might circle back, but at least I was transparent and open about what I was experiencing. So I did let them know, hey, I am expecting. Unfortunately, I won't be working until maybe spring of 26, but please consider me for any future opportunities or keep me in mind. Like I was kind of putting that bug in people's ears. A lot of the jobs that I do get are from like referrals and word of mouth. So I felt like, again, building those strong connections with people and being transparent would help me out in the long run. But I'll be honest, like the whole time, I don't know if I can curse on here. Is that okay? Yeah.
If you
Okay.
need to, girl, go ahead.
Okay. Cause I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting here shitting bricks. I'm like, honestly, I really don't know. Like, I don't know if the jobs are going to come later on. I don't know what photography is going to look like for me in 2026, if it's even going to be photography anymore. I have no idea. And I think a large part of like, my industry specifically, I'm commercial and editorial, so a large part of like this industry is staying relevant, to be honest with you. And I think that's just like social media and artists as a whole right now. Like relevancy is key. If they don't see you working, if they don't see you putting things out, they forget about you. And I'm sitting here like, damn, I've
Mhm.
been gone for a whole year. Like, are they gonna remember me? Are they gonna remember my work? Are they gonna want me again? So and then it's also like, seeing other creatives putting things out, seeing all the campaigns, all the events, all these things that, my peers are going to. And of course, like I'm sitting at home pregnant eating, chips and cookies and whatever else I'm eating. And I'm like, damn, like, I wish I could be doing what I love to do and what I'm used to doing. But again, making sacrifices and saying to myself, like, there's a bigger picture here and it's no longer just me anymore.
Right. And I think that's the hardest part where a lot of people don't realize is like the saying no, right? Like saying no to opportunities that you've prayed for and the opportunity comes and you physically can't do it. And it's like one of the
Exactly.
hardest things that you have to it's a hard pill to swallow, right? But it's like, God, I've been praying for this and you bring this now and
You
not to
know?
say no and will they show up again next year? And it's like
Yes,
listen,
exactly.
and it's even one of those things where I feel like a lot of creators that we have fear. Like for me, it was one of those the same fear, right? Where it's like if we say no to this opportunity, is
Mhm.
another opportunity going to come again? And we
Right.
don't want to be forgotten. We don't want to be left behind. Like I feel like I missed so much last year, and I have to like catch up this year. And it's like you're seeing your peers, you're proud of them, you're
Yes.
happy for them, but you're also like, what about me? And it's like it's
Yes.
hard. Like
It's
we don't
hard.
talk about that enough.
Yes,
All
it's
these
hard.
men just still chilling, and we over here like, well, we gotta take a certain amount of time off.
Exactly.
Did you have any plans for a maternity leave going into this pregnancy or during the pregnancy? Did you have any thoughts, okay, what do I need to do for maternity leave or how long do I plan to not shoot or when do I think that I can come back?
Right. So at the start of the pregnancy, no, because like as any entrepreneur, to be honest, you don't really get maternity leave. Like there is no like, hey, I'm gonna take X amount of time off and still get paid for it. And there's none of that. It's like you work, you get paid. So I didn't really have like a game plan for that per se in the beginning. And of course, like now with needing to kind of get back to work and needing to make my own money and things like that, I'm having those conversations with like my mom, for example, who's like the sole caretaker of my daughter when I'm not available. She's the only person that I trust with my daughter at this point. So she's gonna be with her grandma. But my mom is asking me, she's like, hey, so what are you going to do when you have to go back to work? Like, are you going to, like, when do you think you're going to be ready to go back to work? All these things. And I'll be honest, I think maternity leave is like such a difficult thing to talk about because it should just be standard. Like, I'm not going to lie, it should just be standard that we all just get maternity leave. There should be a universal understanding that we just created life. Our bodies just did so much our minds are still going through so much. Chemically, our bodies are still going through so much. And then we also have like a tiny human being to take care of. And it's like, it's so hard because now that I'm in, like, let's say, said maternity leave, I'm in this little bubble and it's so beautiful and blissful because I'm getting to experience all these little things with my little person growing up. But at the same time, like, reality is still happening on the outside of that bubble. Life is still happening. The bills are still piling up. The jobs are still, it's like, there's so much going on that I haven't been able to, like, be realistic with myself about when I want to get back to work. I know I need to, but I also know that I'm not ready to. It's a hard balance for me right now, like, just 3 months, you know what I'm saying? 3 months ago, and also, like, I don't know if you were gonna ask this moving forward, but my daughter was born early. She was born 5 weeks early, and so that in itself changed my entire experience. Like, it was a very traumatic pregnancy, very traumatic birth. And so, like, physically, my body, I'm not ready yet. Mentally, emotionally, I'm not ready yet. I am certainly going through postpartum. It's not easy, you know? So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So talking about, if you don't mind diving a little bit more into that, I know we're definitely
Mhm.
in the day and age, especially with Black women. Like I had so many fears around my delivery. Like experience,
Me
I have a
too.
twin sister, and her first pregnancy, I remember going to the hospital with her, and telling her she doesn't look like she's in pain, so they're gonna make her leave. And it's like we had to fight for her to get a room, you know. So it's like we see, and we're seeing it now more than social media is now sharing these stories, but there's
Yes.
so much fear as a Black woman going into this process of not just pregnancy but delivery, and then hoping that you get the treatment that you need, and then hoping and praying that you get out of it safely, you know. And it's
Yes.
something that a lot of people, we don't talk about. We're
Mhm.
seeing it now, we're hearing more conversations around it, but going through that, it is traumatic. And then going through the postpartum where people are telling you, well, you don't look like you have postpartum because you're smiling and you're doing this and you're doing that, and it's like postpartum does not have a face,
Exactly.
does not have a look. And then it's like now you have to do all these things to work through it. And so for you, what have you found has helped you in this season of postpartum?
If I can be honest, I think the only thing, like, so I have a lot of friends who ask me, like, every day, "How are you taking care of yourself?" What I'll tell them is I get up and I take a shower. That is literally, like, I take a shower and I
It's
eat something.
heaven.
That is how I am taking care of myself every single day. That's all I have for you right now. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It does not look any further than that. Like, I can't sit here and say, I'm doing yoga and Pilates again, or I'm going to the gym and I'm honestly, no. I am getting up, and if I can take a shower and eat something before 12 p.m. every day, I'm A-okay. Like, that is how I'm protecting my peace. That is how I'm being able to show up for my daughter, because it's like, okay, if I feel refreshed, if I take a shower and I can just, start the day feeling good, at least I can be better for her. That's it for me.
Right.
That's literally how it looks right now.
And I think no one realizes how much a shower helps a new mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one of
A
those things
long
where it
shower at
seems so
that.
little. Right, when
Like,
it's like it seems so little, but
yes.
that's my spa.
Yeah.
No baby is crying. I just feel warm water on my body. It's peace and quiet, even no matter how long it lasts, but like that little time of peace and quiet, because having a
Yes.
newborn is hard.
It's
People
so
talk about the glory of it, and it's like I love my daughter. This has been the hardest job of my entire life.
literally.
Photography is easy. Working with clients is easy. Having a newborn,
Yes.
and it's like, and it's one of those things where it's like, we don't talk about how hard that transition actually is, where you do lose your freedom, you lose your independence, you lose who you were. And it's like now you're in this new chapter, and it's me and this little human. It's like we gonna figure this
That's
out
it.
together, but
Right.
baby,
Right. That's it. That's all we got. It's just me and you.
it's like sometimes we just look at each other crying together, like you crying, I'm crying. It's
Literally.
like, okay,
Yep. Literally, that is
man,
it.
man. And so as a creative, have you been able to find any ways to still stay creative in this process?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I think creating with her has been amazing for me. Even, like, prior to knowing that I was pregnant or thinking about having kids, I've always known that, like, I wanted to, like, take pictures of my kids every single day. And that's honestly something that I've been doing every day since she's been born. I've been taking pictures of her, whether it's on my phone or with my camera. I did a very cute newborn shoot, not me myself, but I took her to get newborn photos done. And that was really nice that I didn't have the responsibility of like doing it myself because to be honest with you, posing newborns is really hard. And just like the
Right.
whole shenanigans around it, like you have to feed them, you have to put them to sleep, they have to be knocked out, just there's so much. So, but creating with her I think has like kind of given me purpose again. It's kind of like allowing me to slow down a little bit and making sure that I'm capturing all these tiny little moments and tiny little memories that I know that I want to save her for the rest of my life and want to be able to show her when she grows up. And like I said, I don't really know like what photography looks like for me anymore or who I am really as a creative anymore. Like I feel like my purpose is changing a lot now. So I guess just like taking the time to slow down and create with her has been kind of helping me recenter that and find myself again. So
That's beautiful, that's beautiful. That was one of the advices one photographer gave me was take a photo a day, and it's
every
like,
day.
sometimes my camera's not with me, but I always have my phone, so it's like, "Listen,
Yes,
baby, we gonna get these photos today, even if you
yes.
even I'm sure she can't stand it now, but it's like, you're gonna look back." And it's crazy though because I don't know about you, but for me, it feels like it's going slow and fast at the same
At the
time,
same time,
right?
yes, like, time
Where
is
it's like
really going fast, but, like, every day feels so long. Yes,
yes.
I get it.
And it's one of those where it's like, everyone's telling me like, "Oh my gosh, she's gotten so big," and it's like, I know she's getting big because I can see it, but I don't remember how like, it's happening so quickly, I have to go back to the photos like, "Oh my gosh, you were this small when you came out
Yeah.
of me," and it's like, "Oh my gosh, you came out of me and you were inside me all in
Right.
2025." Like, my mind goes through all these processes, and it's just like, "Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
like, this really happened, and you're really here, and we're in this for the long haul."
Yes. No, it's really like a revolutionary experience. Like when you really look at them and like you said, you have that memory. It's like, yo, you were just in my stomach. Like, how did you even fit in here? How did this work? And now you're physically here and like, and then seeing their faces. Like, I don't know. I look in my daughter's eyes and I see so much in her eyes. Like I see my mom, I see my grandpa, I see my grandma, I see like her, like who she's gonna be when she gets older. Like I see so much. It's like it's insane. It's insane.
It is. It's
Yeah.
I was telling my twin sister, I was like, "I saw her as you last night," like, when I was putting her to bed, and I'm like, "Every day I see someone different in her," and it's so
Yes,
beautiful where it's like you now understand what love really is. Like, it's like, yes, you could love your partner, yeah, you can love your parents, your siblings, but it's like when you bring a human into this world, it's a different level of love and commitment and just sacrifice where it's like, "I will give everything for you." It's like, now I understand what that means.
exactly.
Man, man. Woo, woo,
I
girl.
know, it's a
So
lot.
it's a lot, and it's like, one, I'm just glad to meet another Libra mom. So, girl, we
Yeah.
could chat because I have two friends. One had her baby the same day as mine, and another one had hers 2 weeks after. So every day we're like sharing videos on Instagram. Like that's our therapy. We're just sending each other funny videos and things like that. But for me, but I want to ask you now that you're in this season of like the unsure, right? What would you say to anyone who is going through that season where it's like, although we are unsure, it's okay to still enjoy that process of the change. It's okay to enjoy this. It's okay to enjoy the unknown because that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, yeah, it is unknown. To be honest, that's what I would tell them. Like, it is okay to just slow down. Like, yeah, because I think again, being the like the go-getters that we're used to being and working in these high taste environments and things like that, like it's hard to kind of turn that off. And then we were forced to turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have a choice. So I think like again with reality setting in, knowing all the things that are happening on the back end that we want to keep going, we want to keep going, but at the same time, like life is happening here now. You know what I'm saying? Like this little child needs us here now. We have to give our all here now. And it's okay to like be still. It's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to take care of this little human. It's okay to slow down for a second and, just be present. I think that's what it is, being present. And that's why I kind of force myself to take a picture every single day. I take pride in it because it's like in that moment, I'm allowing myself to just be present, you know? So yeah,
Love
that's what I
that.
would, that's the
Love
advice I
that.
give them. Be present and it's okay to do that. Yeah.
Love that. So I want to go back again. I'm going all over the place just because I'm
That's okay.
loving this conversation so much. But during your pregnancy, what,
Yeah.
if you don't mind sharing, what was that process for you like in terms of like for me, I had an amazing OB, and
Mhm.
then but when she told me, she's like, I may not be the person that delivers your baby. And I
Mhm.
was like, wait a minute, well, hold up. Like this is not what I signed up for. I
Right.
signed up for 40 weeks with you, and then you hold my hand through the whole thing. And it's like, luckily
Yes.
we were blessed that she was on call. And
Yes.
I told my daughter, I was like, listen, she gets off the clock at 7 o'clock. You need to come before that. And we luckily had her before 5:30. But
Wow.
for you, what was that process like in terms of like, I feel like we don't talk about this as women where it was news to me. Like I had no idea that that's how it happens. So what
Same.
were things that you learned in this pregnancy that you wish that you knew ahead of time that you would
Mhm.
want another mom to be able to prepare?
Yeah. Okay, so I think those are like two separate questions. So I'm gonna answer the first one first, like my experience with that, right? And one, I just want to
Yes.
like preface by saying like I'm really happy that it worked out that way for you, like that your OB was able to deliver, and that your daughter came on time and everything. Like I'm really happy because in this experience, I've learned like by talking to a lot of other moms, like I had shared a very transparent post on Instagram. And I got like, I want to say maybe over 200 DMs of moms telling me about their experiences with like, the birth and the birth plans not going the way that they expected and things like that. And I didn't know that so many people experience this. So, like you said, I don't think it's talked about enough because a lot of women go through it and
Right.
they just don't open up about it. So, I'm going to open up about it. From the jump, I didn't know as well, like, that your OB wouldn't necessarily deliver your baby or that they would just be on call or that there were other doctors in their network on call and things like that. I had no idea about any of that, right? Um, I went out of my way to find a Black woman OB. That was really important to me because I wanted to make sure that I was heard, that my concerns were heard, that my pain would be heard, that my needs would be met. And I am, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess disappointed, to say the
Mm,
least, or for lack of a better term, in my experience. I don't feel like I got the support that I needed from her. And that's really unfortunate for me to say, to be honest with you. Very, very disappointing experience, that entire experience. I felt like she handled me as if I had been pregnant before. And this was my first pregnancy.
mm,
I'm like, I need you to hold my hand. I need you to walk me through this. I need you to baby me a little bit because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. My body's doing a million and one things. I am confused. There's so many things going on. I need
right.
you to hold my hand. And I don't think that she really did that. At times, I felt like things were like a little abrasive or a little like, you should know this, or a little like, just, I don't know, just this, like, sorry, this is another one of those things. It's like mom brain, like sometimes the words just leave you, like they're just gone.
Right.
But yeah, it's just one of those things, like, I thought that that experience would be a lot different for me, and it wasn't, right? So going into, like, the birth, as I mentioned before, my daughter came 5 weeks early, so I went into preterm labor. Prior to that, so I was high risk. I knew that I was high risk, and I was working with a high risk team alongside my OB. The reason why I was high risk was because I had gestational diabetes, which I developed obviously while I was pregnant. I also have one kidney. I donated a kidney to my mom in 2020. And prior to getting pregnant, I had fibroids, cystic ovaries, ovarian cyst ruptures, things like that. So I knew that I was going to be high risk, right? While I was pregnant, I actually had two fibroids in there with her, above her. So it was like the fibroids, my placenta, and then her. And when I got to like, I want to say like 32 weeks, they started to like measure the baby and they told me that she was measuring a little bit smaller than she should. And they said that, okay, they want to monitor my placenta, make sure that there's getting, enough oxygen to her and all these different things. And around 34 weeks, I started to have contractions. And I'm like, okay, this is not normal. Like, these are not Braxton Hicks contractions. I am in pain. And I started to go to the hospital. They sent me home. So what happened was at 35 weeks now, I was in labor for 3 days, going 3 days, going to the hospital, getting sent home, going to the hospital, getting sent home. And on the third day, I said to them, listen, I'm not going home today. I am at a level 10 now. Like, I'm not going home. This pain is excruciating. I wasn't dilating, and that's why they kept sending me home. Even though I was having contractions, they were monitoring the baby. Her heart rate was fine, but I was having contractions. But they couldn't figure out why because I wasn't dilating.
Mm.
On that third day, as I was having the contractions, I told my mom, I said, let's go back to the hospital. We went back and they finally put me in a room after all of that. And I breathed through one of my contractions and my water broke, but I still wasn't dilating. So I ended up having to go into an emergency C-section, and that was like it was such a split second, like such a second decision that I had to make, where it was like, that wasn't a part of my birth plan. I wanted to have this baby natural. I wanted to push. I did not want to get cut again because I had I donated a kidney. I had already had 5 incisions on my stomach. I didn't want to get cut again. That wasn't a part of my birth plan at all, which I never actually got to talk to my OB about, who also wasn't on
Mm,
call the night that I went into labor. So then I had to make that decision of having that emergency C-section with a doctor who wasn't my OB. But to be honest with you, I'm grateful. She was amazing. She did a beautiful job on there's no scar, like none whatsoever. It's a beautiful
yes.
incision. I am so grateful. And she did it so quick, and my daughter came into this world. She was healthy. Everything went perfectly with that surgery. And I'm so blessed and grateful for that. But it was disappointing in the moment because my birth plan didn't go how I wanted it to go. And again, I didn't know. I didn't know all of these things could happen.
Right.
After that, I ended up back in the hospital because I had preeclampsia. So I developed preeclampsia post pregnancy and almost died. Legit almost died. Like my blood pressure was 181 over 110. I was rushed on magnesium for 12 hours via IV. They had to put a catheter in because I was basically paralyzed from the waist down. So they put me on the magnesium to stop any seizures or stroke, essentially. And, I'm separated from my daughter. My mom's at home with her, and I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it home. All I could think about was I want to be at home with her. And it was the scariest thing ever. But that entire time, I had to keep myself calm. I had to remind myself, like, you have to stay calm to be able to get back home to her. You can't raise your blood pressure any further. My heart rate was also dropping. So, for those people who don't know, like, preeclampsia causes like your organs to fail basically or to shut down. So like at the same time, my kidney levels were elevated, my liver enzymes were elevated, and my heart rate was dropping. Scariest thing I've ever been in my life. I'm not gonna lie to you. The scariest experience ever. But all in all, and sorry, I don't know if I can I know that I'm all over the place with this one, but
No,
I don't know
you
if
are
I can
good. You
expound a
are
little bit
good.
more. Okay.
Go right ahead. Whatever you want to share.
Thank you. So prior to going back into the hospital, when I was in the initial hospital that I gave birth in, right, my legs were swelling, like from the groin down to my feet, my legs were swelling. And I kept telling the doctors, I'm like, this is not right. Like something is wrong. My legs are swelling. Something is wrong. And they kept telling me, you're fine. Just walk around. It's just fluid. It's normal, whatever, whatever. And I kept telling them, I'm like, this is not normal. So you know what I did? I got my ass up and I walked around. I walked around. I walked around. I walked past their desk every time so that they could know, like, you see me, I'm walking around and I'm still telling you something is not right here. They discharged me. I went home. And 3 days later is when I ended up back in the hospital and almost died. 3 days later. And that part to me, because I'm like, all of this could have been avoided had we like
Right.
listened to my concerns. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know my body, I know something is not right. When I tell you my feet were like balloons, like I've never seen like edema that big in myself before. I'm like, the lower extremity edema was insane. And so, yeah, that was another part of the experience for me that was just very disappointing, like not having my concerns or my pain heard or met. So yeah, it was a very traumatic birth experience for me. And so for the moms who are out there and first time moms who don't know, or even moms who just don't know, or pregnant women that don't know. I feel like we can do all this research. We can do all the research because I did so much research, but your experience is always going to be your experience. It's unique to you. You just never know what might happen. So what I can say is, prepare yourself for any and everything. Literally, like I had to have difficult conversations with my loved ones about like if this did not go the way that I planned, what would happen? Have those hard conversations. I think that's really important, making sure that you have like plans for things that, in the event of. And also, I think you also have to be ready to accept anything that does happen. Like if your birth plan doesn't go according to you have to be ready to accept that because at the end of the day, like your life matters, your child's life matters. And I think that's
Hmm.
all it boils down to at the end of the day. So acceptance is key. Preparing yourself for the worst in the event of. It's unfortunate, but we really have to be realistic about that. And also, like you said, finding a good OB, like that's really important. Having a good supportive team, people who are going to stand by you and make sure that your needs are met, your concerns are met, your birth plan is heard, everything that you want is like acknowledged. That's really important. So yeah.
One, thank you so much for being so open and so transparent. I know that it may not be the most comfortable conversation to have, but thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to start
Sure.
there because, girl, if I could just give you a hug right now. And if I
Thank
could
you.
find somebody right now, like, listen, why? And I think that's the thing that's so unfortunate that we're in this day and age where we're still not heard, right? Where it's like,
Exactly.
I know my body, so if I'm saying this, why am I being dismissed? Or why am
Exactly.
I being told that it's normal? And why am I not being listened to? And I think that's
Right.
the hardest part about this one. Pregnancy is traumatizing, delivery is
Yes.
traumatizing. I tell people that all the time. And it's like
Yes.
the fact that we're not listened to in this moment, it's a thing that's so frustrating that we have to still go through this.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that you've been able to come back from this. I'm
Thank
grateful
you.
that you're stronger now and that I know that,
Thank
we're gonna
you.
make sure this don't happen to our Libra babies
Period.
because it,
Yes.
and I think that's the thing where it's, even like with preeclampsia, I end up having our baby, a week early because my blood pressure was too high, and the doctor
Mhm.
was like, "I don't like where your blood pressure's been." My whole 3rd trimester, my blood pressure was really high, and I'm like, "I'm just sitting here." I'm like, "I'm literally not doing a damn thing, and my blood pressure is through the roof." And it's like, they're like, "This isn't normal. We need to put you on medication," and things like that. And my husband was upset 'cause I don't want you to be medicated and all these things. I'm like, "Listen, if it's gonna protect the baby, that's what I'm all for." But it's one of those things too where, like you said, it's like we can do so much research because I read up on it. I asked questions, and it's like, but you just never know what's going to happen. And then the worst thing is to be in a situation where you're not listened to when you know something's wrong.
Right.
And it's like, again, I'm grateful that you were able to get out of this situation. But
Thank
even
you.
like you said, having those tough conversations with your loved ones is something I feel like a lot of us don't even consider, where it's
Mhm.
like, you don't wanna seem like you're hoping for the worst or that you're preparing for the worst, but at the end of the day, you still have to have those conversations no matter how uncomfortable it is? And I think that's a thing too, where it's like, in this process of planning your maternity leave, in your maternity and your birth plan and all these things, these are conversations
Mhm.
you have to have, where it's like, in
Yes.
case this happens, I'm
Right.
not hoping that it happens. I'm not praying that it happens. Of course, we're praying for the best, but if it were to happen, I wanna make sure that we're prepared. I wanna make sure that my mom knows, my sister knows, my partner knows, and I think that's something that we also still need to consider, especially in this day and age, which is still so sad that we have to consider it. But, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Thank
To your
you.
OB, do better.
No,
To the
for real.
hospital, y'all need to do better. Like, who like,
Thank
wanting
you.
to fight, like, listen. My therapist,
Listen.
like, when your therapist asks, "Do you ever wanna hurt someone?" "Yes." And
Yes.
here's the list
Right.
because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Man,
Yeah.
oh man. Whoo,
Very
but one,
unfortunate.
I'm again grateful that you were able to come out of this season
Thank
and
you.
grateful that you have a beautiful daughter. Shout out to
Thank
the Libra
you.
babies again. You
Yeah.
you have a special place in my heart because you a Libra mom, honey. So
Thank
we about to be
you.
best friends after this. You have no idea.
I know, girl, I'm ready. I'm ready. Listen, like I said, I've been so grateful, like, for community, like, so grateful for community in this season. Like, I've always known that I had a community, but I didn't know how strong or the lengths that they would go to support me until being vulnerable and sharing my experiences. I've seen like people show up in ways that I didn't expect, and I've built friendships and people that I didn't expect. The mom community, when I tell you, like, so strong. Like, of course, I've always known, like, I have a strong mom, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always known, but, like, now being a mom and talking to other moms, this hits differently. So, yes, we're gonna be the best of friends because I love it. I love it. I'm
Listen.
here for it.
And so my twin sister, she had her baby 7 years ago, and I
Mhm.
had to apologize to her, and I'm like, "I'm sorry that I couldn't show up for you the way that
Same.
I should have." I'm like, "But I had no idea. And
Yeah.
even for her, she was like, with what she experienced, she's like, she was happy she was able to show up for me the way that she needed back then. And
Mhm.
it's like, now I'm even more aware of the conversations I have with people, with women especially,
Mhm.
and like you said, like, the mom community having a mom community support system has changed my life in a way where it's like, I didn't know I needed y'all. And it's like
Exactly.
now I understand why it is so important to have women who are going through the season with you and
Yeah,
or just understand what you're going through, where you don't even have to speak words, where it's just like, how are you feeling today? I haven't showered. And they know what that means. Where it's like I don't have to go
exactly.
into a log. It's like, okay, what do you need? Or how can I support you? And those little things like community, thank you. Thank you for just being there, showing up for us because it is more appreciated, it is needed, and we are so grateful because we wouldn't be here without y'all. Cause woo, oh
Absolutely.
man, man,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's important.
oof. So to close this off, for
Yeah.
any creative mom who's a photographer about to go through this season, what is one piece of advice that you would give them going into this new chapter?
Man, I don't know. It's so hard because it's like, we're still just figuring it out. Like every day, still just figuring it out. What would I say? Man, I feel like anything that I say right now, I should be taking my own advice, because every day I'm really just trying to figure out like what's next. But I guess that would be my advice. Like, don't focus so much on what's next. Just be present. Like that I think that's really important for us right now. Like this is such a special time. Like I said, I'm grateful that I'm able to kind of just sit in this bubble with my daughter. Like it's so beautiful to just watch those little steps that she's taking, or she just discovered her hands for the first time the other day. And it's like, it's so nice to just be able to just sit back and watch that. So I guess like don't focus too much on what's next, but at the same time, like it's okay. Okay. It's okay to mourn, right? It's okay to mourn who you were. It's okay to mourn the life that you had, the things that you used to create. It's okay to mourn all of that. But at the same time, remember that you just created like, the ultimate thing you could have ever created. You created life. We worked so hard on this project right here, you know? Embrace that, celebrate that every single day for the rest of your life. It's okay to do that. You'll never be that same person again. But what this experience is calling you to become is something far greater. And your purpose will eventually show itself. So trust in that, have faith, um, and you'll be okay. So yeah.
Preach, preacher. Amen. Amen to that. Amen
Every
to
day. It's
that.
me,
Oh
my
man.
daughter, and God. That's it. Every day.
Listen, listen. Oh man, when you said mourn, I was like, oh my gosh, she hears me because
Yeah.
woo,
We are mourning.
woo,
The girls are
the
mourning.
morning,
Yes.
every day, and it's but it's like you said, we've made the best piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I say to myself every day. Like I created the best piece. Like no art that I've created
Yeah.
could ever match this. That's
Yeah.
amen to that. Ooh. Well, Krishana, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your vulnerability and for sharing your amazing story. I know that this story is going to help so many women as it has helped me. And shout out to the new Libra mom. And I look forward to growing our community and our village together.
Likewise.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Baby Bump and Business. I hope today's conversation reminded you that you're not alone in this journey and that there's so much joy and power in building something beautiful while becoming someone new. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate, review, or share it with another mama or creative who needs the encouragement. Your support helps this community grow and lets more stories like ours be heard. To stay connected and get updates on new episodes and real talk from creative moms like you, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Baby Bump and Business. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and give yourself all the grace that you deserve.